So I know from experimentation, but I need to actually have the run particles moving faster than the warp particles. So we're going to set that up using get and set velocity. So we're going to get our set particle velocity and our get particle velocity nodes. And we're going to do these ones, use again, execute once on enter state. And you can see we've got an extra port we can hook this into. And then how do we want to set the velocity? Well, we want to get the original velocity, but we want to change it so we can increase or decrease it. So this way we're going to get a divide by scalar node, divide by scalar, and a multiply by scalar. And the reason we're using both of these, multiply by scalar, is because I first of all want to, any velocity it has set, I want to kind of normalize it down so it's back down to a value of 1. And then I want to set it to the value I need it to be set for initially. But I don't want to actually change its direction, and that's why I'm doing this here. So we bring the velocity into value and the speed into divide by, and then we'll take the result here and we'll hook this into value, and then we'll bring this into velocity. Now what that just did was it took our particles that were moving at 8 and it did, it divided it by 8, and then we're going to multiply it by 8 later on. That meant that right now they're moving very slowly, but it means that whatever speed I had set here or set elsewhere shouldn't matter. So if I set this to 1, they're moving the same speed, but now I can just set this one here to 8 and everything should be moving correctly, and then they move correctly. And that's how I can actually put an actual speed value in. It's just a simple way of taking however fast I'm moving, giving a value back to 1, and then I can set the speed to whatever I need to. Because I may not know the initial speed, especially when I start using goals, is because the speed may be adjusted and I want it to be an exact speed at this time. And we're going to do the same for the run. So just copy this, paste it, and hook this in to the run and execute once on enter state. And this way I want to set the speed up to 48. He's running pretty fast. And let's see if this works. So he's walking right now, and when it gets to 1 second, then they start running, and you can see the particles are moving much faster, and there's not too much leg sliding. So that's how to control the speed of these characters. Now you also want to be able to control the speed of the animation, because what can happen is the speeds can speed up or slow down even when this is only set once on entering the state. But while you're inside the state, other things can happen. There could be a goal, there could be a force, there could be some way the character is sped up or slowing down. And because of that, we want to also adjust the speed here so the character's motion is correct. And you can slow down, you can make your character run in slow motion. If I set the speed multiplier by 0.5, the character's moving much slower. If I went to 2, the animation's much faster. So I want to be able to control the actual speed the animation plays back based on the speed the particles are actually moving. The way I do this is I can get another divide by scalar. Very simple, we'll just take the speed and we'll bring this into value, and the result into playback speed multiplier, and whatever factor I was using here I use the same there. So in this case I was using 8, and ideally I'd probably put another node here just so I could set the speed, but so they'll both be linked in, but this would be 8, this will also be 8. Same with the one below, just copy that again. And you shouldn't see any difference at this time, but this again, I just set the same speed, 48. But the reason I did this is so I can adjust the speed of the particles using different forces, and the animation should still work somewhat correctly. So everything's still moving correctly. As I said, you could put an extra constant in there, so we could just get a scalar value and say, okay, this is set to 8, and then I just hook it into both the factor here and the divide by here. And I could copy that, make this one 48, and again hook it into both the factor and the divide by. Not essential, but sometimes it can make things easier to read, and you can actually see the values inside your graph now. So just check everything's still working correctly. Always you want to check, yeah, everything's still working. And that's how to control the animation speed and the particle velocity speed as well, using setting velocity and then also controlling the playback multiplier.